Gail, welcome back, and viewers, welcome back to our new feature called Afterwards. Gail, when we finished our segment, I said there was one more thing I wanted to lead into, and I'm going to use your exact words. And this is from the episode we did when we talked about your book, The Only Way Out is Through. And these are the words that I think are so important for everyone to hear. Part of loss is the fear of saying goodbye to your own life. That's what I really want to get into in this segment of Afterwards, because when somebody you love, when a job you love, when all of the great griefs that you could imagine leave you, what's really worrying you to some extent is, can you start this new life? Because the old life is gone.
Yes, and ancient cultures have always understood this, and they create rituals for the ends of something, because every ending signals a beginning. And if you consciously go through, the only way out is through, if you go through this dynamic of this valley of despair, rather than going back to the old way that defines you, then you can always move into a larger, more expansive view. It'll always be larger because now you're doing it consciously, deliberately.
And you say that that expansive view is literally the retrieving of your soul.
That's right. It's a soul. In fact, ancient cultures do soul retrievals. They actually have as rituals soul retrievals, because you're reconnecting. Jung called this individuation. You're reconnecting to that part of you that is you, really, the unconscious. But most of us distract ourselves from us all day long. But through dream work, through meditation, through journaling, through yoga and qigong and listening to beautiful music and walking in a forest in nature, but being in a solitary place for a while with yourself, you have a chance to be with yourself, and then you can hear that inner voice that tells you, here's what's up. Here are these things that you need to look at. Now you have to look at them, be responsible for them, acknowledge them, and then move forward.
Well, move forward. That's why you say the journey is not just about becoming whole,
no,
but it's one of expansion.
Expansion.
And moving forward is part of
Exactly.
expanding.
Exactly. Because when you hear that inner voice, you're finding your true vocation. You know, James Hillman, the student of Jung, believed that within each of us was an acorn. And as we developed and evolved in the best of all possible worlds, as Candide said, that acorn would expand into a beautiful tree. But life happens, and we don't get a chance to be unrestricted and just blossom into a beautiful tree. But we can go back to finding that acorn and allowing it to come forward. But we have to create the dynamic that allows it. And then once we do that, we find our destiny. As Hillman said, we all have that destiny, that acorn. Then we find our true vocation, and then we individuate. And only the outcast can lead. And that, we fall into culture and socialization, and we think, well, this group knows better, and that group knows better, and everybody knows better than we do. But actually, only by breaking away from herd consciousness, which is usually unconscious, can we find ourselves by doing our inner work. Then we go back to the herd and we lead the herd, because we have to first find ourselves, our inner voice. Every leader, whether it was Moses or Jesus or Muhammad, took themselves away, whether it was 40 years in the desert, 40 days on a mountain, whatever it was, on the Dome of the Rock. They all took themselves away to hear that inner voice and then return to lead now the herd.
Dr. Gross, it is a pleasure
Thank
that you
you.
brought us back our inner voice. Thank you all for joining us on this moment we call Afterwards. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks, Barry.
My pleasure.
Mine too.